Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello, good morning. How are you today? I hope you all fine. In this video, we will discuss about the listening part A questions, including strategies and sample questions. The first presenter is Nur Afifah. She will explain about strategies. And then the second presenter is Hubi Malini. She will explain about who, what, and where. And then the third presenter is Dini Majida. She will explain about negatives. And then the last presenter is Septia Laila Islami. She will explain about functions.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Afifah and I will explain about listening part A questions. For each of the 30 questions in part A of the listening comprehension sections of the TOEFL test, you will hear a short conversation between two speakers followed by a question. After you listen to the conversation and questions, you must choose the best answer to the question from your textbook. Okay, the strategies for the listening part A questions. The first is, as you listen to each short conversation, focus on the second line of the conversation, K. The answer to the question is generally found in the second line, usually. And the second is, keep in mind that the correct answer is probably a restatement of a keyword or idea in the second line of the conversation. Think of possible restatements, okay? And the third is, keep in mind that certain structures and expressions are tested regularly in listening part A. Listen for the structure and expressions. The structure like passive, negatives, wishes, conditions, like that. And the expressions like functional expressions and idiomatic expressions. And the fourth is, keep in mind that these questions generally progress from easy to difficult. This means that questions I through 5 will be the easiest, and questions 26 through 30 will be the hardest. Like that. And the fifth is, read the answers and choose the best answer to each question. Remember to answer each question even if you are not sure of the correct response. Never leave any answers blank. Got it, yeah? And the last is 6. Even if you do not understand the complete conversation, you can find the correct answer by, if you only understood a few words or ideas in the second line, choose the answer that contains a restatement of those words or ideas. Or if you did not understand anything at all in the second line of the conversation, choose the answer that sounds the most different from what you heard. Or never choose an answer because it sounds like what you heard in the conversations. Okay, that's all. Okay, strategies. Skill 1. Focus on the second line. In listening part A, you will hear a short conversation involving two people. This conversation is followed by a question. It is important to understand that the answer to this type of question is most often found in the second line of the conversation, but it's not always, okay? The strategy is, the first is, the second line of the conversation probably contains the answer to the question. Probably contains the answer to the questions, like that. And the second is, listen to the first line of the conversation. If you understand it, that's good. If you don't understand it, don't worry because it probably doesn't contain the answer. And the third is, Be ready to focus on the second line of the conversation because it probably contains the answer. Repeat the second line in your mind as you read through the answer in the text. Like that. Okay, let's go to the TOEFL exercise 1. Please focus on the second line. Here I will take number 3 of the exercise. Let's hear the audio recording.
TOEFL Exercise 1. In this exercise, listen carefully to the short conversation and question on the tape, and then choose the best answer to the question. You should focus carefully on the second line. Number 3.
The dinner special is roast turkey with mashed potatoes and gravy and apple pie for dessert.
That doesn't sound good to me.
What does the woman mean?
Well, in your textbook you will find 4 choices. A. She doesn't like to listen to turkeys. B. She thinks the dinner sounds special. C. She especially likes the roast turkey. And D. She'd prefer a different dinner. In the second line of this conversation indicates that the woman doesn't like the menu. That means she prefers different food to her dinner. So, the best answer is D. She'd prefer a different dinner. And then go to the skill 2. Choose answers with synonyms. As you listen to the second line of the conversation, focus on keywords in that line. If you see any synonyms for keywords in a particular answer, then you have probably found the correct answer. Often the correct answer in listening part A is an answer that contains synonyms for keywords in the conversation. Okay, let's jump to TOEFL exercise 2. Remember to choose answers with synonyms. Here, I will take number 2 of the exercise. Let's hear the audio recording.
TOEFL Exercise 2. In this exercise, listen carefully to the short conversation and question on the tape, and then choose the best answer to the question. You should look for synonyms for key words in the second line. Number 2.
How are you feeling today?
I'm really feeling rather sick.
How is the man feeling?
Okay, in your textbook you will see 4 choices. A. He's not feeling very well. B. He's rather sick of walking. And C. He's feeling better today than yesterday. And D. He'd really rather not answer the question. In this conversation, rather sick means not well. So, then the best answer is A. He's not feeling very well. Okay, we jump to skill 3. Avoid similar sounds. Identify keywords in the second line of the conversation and identify words in the answers that contain similar sounds. And do not choose this answer. Often the incorrect answer in listening part A are answers that contain words with similar sounds but very different meanings from what you hear in the coding program. You should definitely avoid this answer. Okay, the last is TOEFL exercise 3. Don't forget to avoid similar sounds. Here I will take number 1 of the exercise. Let's hear the audio recording.
TOEFL Exercise 3. In this exercise, listen carefully to the short conversation and question on the tape, and then choose the best answer to the question. You should be careful to avoid answers with similar sounds. Number 1.
How long until you'll be ready to leave?
First, I need to water the grass.
What does the woman mean?
Okay, let's analyze the answer. In answer A, B, and D, the words wait, waiter, and watch sounds like water, and the words cash, glass, and crash sounds like grass, so their answers are incorrect. The best answer is C. The lawn is too dry.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Hubi Malini, and now I will be explain about who, what, and where. The listening per E questions. Ski 4. Draw conclusion about who, what, and where. Where? It is common for you to be asked to draw one of the following conclusions in listening per E. Who? It is probably talking. What? Will she or he probably do text? Where? Doesn't the conversations probably takes place? I will take a sample question here in the TOEFL exercise 4. And I take number 4. You will hear the audio.
TOEFL Exercise 4. In this exercise, listen carefully to the short conversation and question on the tape, and then choose the best answer to the question. You will have to draw conclusions about who, what, and where. Number 4.
How much of a tip should I leave?
Oh, $1's plenty. The meal service wasn't very good.
Where does this conversation probably take place?
After here, the audio. Where's the correct answer here? The correct answer is B. Because men asks for a woman's how much a tip, so short levers, and woman's oh I thought that pretty the source was very good. And then where's that days of conversations probably take place? Yeah. And the answer is B. It is in a restaurant. And now go to the skill 5. Listening for who and what in the passive. Students sometimes find it is difficult to define who and what. It is subject in passive sentence. These problems of other text in the listening per E sessions. The things that you should pay attention to in the listening per E sessions you care during the use of the passive sentence structures. Number 1. If the conversation contains passive speech, then often the right answer use the active voice. Number 2. If the conversation contains active speech, the often the right answer use active speech. and passive sentence. I will take a sample question here in the TOEFL exercise 5, and I take number 5. You will hear the audio.
TOEFL Exercise 5. In this exercise, listen carefully to the short conversation and question on the tape, and then choose the best answer to the question. You should be particularly careful of passives. Number 5.
Did you see Sally? Her leg's in a cast.
Yes, I know. She told me that she broke her leg skiing in the mountains.
What happened to Sally?
After hear the audio, where's the correct answer is? The correct answer is C. Because the audio means, did you see Sally? Her leg in the cast. And the woman, yes, I know. She told me that she broke her leg similar in the mountain. Rather, what happened to Sally? The answer is C. He led with her on the skill trip. And go to the skill seek. Listen for who and what with multiple nouns. Some conversations name more than one nouns or more than one persons. It is easy to get confused. Be sure to listen carefully. I will take a sample question here and the TOEFL exercise 6. And I take number 6. You will hear the audio.
TOEFL Exercise 6. In this exercise, listen carefully to the short conversation and question on the tape, and then choose the best answer to the question. You should be particularly careful of who is doing what. Number 6.
I cannot find the clerk.
The floor manager sent him back to the supply room.
What happened according to the man?
After hear the audio, where is the correct answer is? The correct answer is C. Because in audio it is clear. A woman say, I cannot find the clip. Man, the poor manager sends him back to the supply rooms. And the question it is, what happened according to the man? Because the clerk went to the supply rooms and the manager quickly. And so, the answer is C.
Negatives. Skill 7. Listen for negative expressions. In this part, we will know how to answer if we hear the audio which is contain a negative statement. Negative expressions are very common in listening part A, and The most common kind of correct response is a positive statement, which a positive statement is itself contains a word with an opposite meaning to a negative statement. So, if we find or if we hear a negative statement, we can search a word which has a positive statement, has an opposite meaning with the negative statement. Yeah. Now we move on to the chart outlines. What is on the chart here? It is contain the types of negative expressions that we should be careful of. The expressions like regular negative, like for example, Tom is not sad about the result. And then the correct answer is happy. Yeah, we should know the keywords here. Not sad. Not sad has an opposite meaning with happy. Yeah, happy here is a positive statement. Another expressions like other negatives, like nobody, none, nothing, and never. For example, nobody arrived on time. The correct answer, nobody blah 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 on time, which means late. Yeah. And then another example, Saul never works hard. And then the correct answer is lazy. Yeah, we should know here the negative statement never works hard, which has an opposite, which has a meaning lazy. And then the last expressions is negative prefix an, in, and this. For example, the patient was insane. And then the correct answer is crazy. The negative statement here is insane or not sane, which has a meaning crazy. I will take sample questions here in TOEFL exercise 7. I will take number 7. Now you will hear the audio.
TOEFL exercise 7. In this exercise, listen carefully to the short conversation and question on the tape, and then choose the best answer to the question. You should be particularly careful of negative expressions. Number 7.
Do you think that Bob really wanted me to go home?
He wasn't kidding when he told you to leave.
What does the man say about Bob?
After hear the audio, where is the correct answer here? The correct answer here is B. We know that the question is, what does the man say about Bob? And in the audio we heard, the woman said, do you think that Bob really wanted me to go home? And then we hear the main point on the questions when the man said, he wasn't kidding when he told you to leave. So, the correct answer here is B. He seriously wanted the woman to go. The keywords here is negative statement wasn't kidding, which means serious or Bob seriously, he or he seriously. So the answer is B. Now, skill 8. Listen for double negative expressions. It is possible for two negative ideas to appear in one sentence, and the result can be confusing for us. Now, there is a chart outlines here about the situations where double negatives can occur. Like the situations, for example, like negative word here and negative prefix. Negative word like ag, not, no, and noun, and negative prefix like ag, in, an, and this. For example, he didn't like unclean office. The meaning, did not like unclean office. There are two negative ideas here, not and un. Yeah. Then the meaning is liked clean office. And then the second situations, two negative verbs. For example, it isn't snowing, so they aren't going to the mountains. The meaning here implies that they would go if it were snowing. And then the last situations, neither or not either. For example, Sue didn't like the movie and neither did Mark. The meaning is both did not like the movie. Sue and Mark did not like the movie. Now I will take a sample questions in TOEFL exercise 8, and I will take number 3. You will listen the audio.
TOEFL Exercise 8. In this exercise, listen carefully to the short conversation and question on the tape, and then choose the best answer to the question. You should be particularly careful of double negatives. Number 3.
Was Gary prepared for the debate?
It's no surprise that he was unprepared.
What does the woman say about Gary?
After hear the audio, so which one is the correct answer? Yeah, the correct answer is B. We heard that the dialogue the man said, was Gary prepared for the debate? And then the woman said, it's no surprise that he was unprepared. Then the question is, what does the woman says about Gary? What the woman says about Gary is, it's no surprise that he was unprepared. There is double expressions here, double negative expressions, no surprise and unprepared. What does it mean? It seems that Gary always like that. It is like Gary's habit. He was unprepared. We can find it on the answer B, that he was not ready as usual. Not ready has same meaning as unprepared. Okay, now we move on to the next skill, skill 9. Listen for almost negative expressions. Certain expressions in English have almost negative meanings. These expressions are common on the TOEFL test and need to be reviewed. how to answer if we listen for almost negative expressions, we can see the following chart on lines, common almost negative expressions, like the expressions hardly, barely, scarcely, only. And then the example, there is hardly any food in the refrigerator. That expression's meaning is almost none. Next, we move on to the next expressions, like rarely and seldom. The meaning is almost never. For example, he rarely drives to work, which has meaning he almost never drives to work. After this, you will hear the audio for the sample questions that I have prepared in TOEFL exercise 9. You will hear number 10.
TOEFL exercise 9. In this exercise, listen carefully to the short conversation and question on the tape, and then choose the best answer to the question. You should be particularly careful of almost negative expressions. Number 10.
Does your broken arm hurt very much?
Only if I try to move.
What does the man mean?
After hear the audio, where is the correct answer? The correct answer is D. There's no pain if he rests quietly. We know that the question is, what does the man mean? The man's statement, only if I try to move, it means that his broken arm hurt very much if he tried to move. We can find it on D. There's no pain if he rests quietly. The last skill in negatives is skill 10. Listen for negatives with comparative. It is when we find a sentence with negative and a comparative. Negatives can be used with comparatives in listening part A of the TOEFL test. A sentence with a negative and a comparative has a superlative or very strong meaning. Here, the following chart outlines comparisons that we should be careful of when they are used with negatives. The comparative more. For example, no one is more beautiful than she is. This example used negative no and comparative more. It means that it has a superlative or very strong meaning. So, the meaning of this example is, she is the most beautiful. And then comparative ER. For example, he couldn't be happier. We can see couldn't here is negative, and then happier is comparative. And so the meaning is he is extremely happy. Has a very strong meaning, extremely here. After this, you will hear the audio for sample questions in TOEFL exercise 10. I will take Number 4. Please listen the audio.
TOEFL Exercise 10. In this exercise, listen carefully to the short conversation and question on the tape, and then choose the best answer to the question. You should be particularly careful of comparatives with negatives. Number 4.
What do you think of Betsy?
I don't know a more intelligent woman.
What does the man say about Betsy?
After hearing the audio, we know that the correct answer is D. The man say about Betsy, I don't know a more intelligent woman. It has done and as negative statement and more as comparative. It means that he said Betsy is very intelligent. Has a superlative meaning, yeah? We can find it on D. She is extremely intelligent. Extremely has superlative meaning.
Function. Skill 11. Listen for expression of agreement. In the book, there are two kinds of expression of agreement. The first is agreement with positive statement, and the second is agreement with negative statement. Agreement with positive statement is like, so do I, me too, I'll say, isn't it, you can say that again. And agreement with negative statement is like, neither do I don't either. Okay, I will take a sample question from TOEFL exercise 11. Number 1. Now you will hear the audio.
TOEFL Exercise 11. In this exercise, listen carefully to the short conversation and question on the tape, and then choose the best answer to the question. You should pay attention to expressions of agreement. Number 1.
I'd like to take a trip down the coast this weekend.
Me too.
What does the woman mean?
After hear the audio, what's the correct answer here? The correct answer is D. She would also like to take a trip. We know that the question is, what does the woman mean? And in the audio, we heard the man said, I'd like to take a trip down the coast this weekend. And the woman said, me too. And me too here is agreement with a positive statement. It means that the woman agrees with the man. So, the correct answer is D. Skill 12. Listen for expression of uncertainty and suggestion. Expression of uncertainty and suggestion are common in listening part A, so you should become familiar with them. Expression of uncertainty is like blah blah blah, isn't it? Take. And as far as I know, as far as I can tell, an expression of suggestion is like, why not blah blah blah, let's blah blah blah. I will take a sample question from TOEFL exercise 12, number 6. Now you will hear the audio.
TOEFL Exercise 12. In this exercise, listen carefully to the short conversation and question on the tape, and then choose the best answer to the question. You should be particularly careful of expressions of uncertainty and suggestion. Number 6.
Did you hear that Mary's in the hospital with a broken leg?
Let's go visit her.
What does the man suggest?
After hear the audio, where is the correct answer here? The correct answer is A. They should go to hospital. And we know the question is what did the man suggest? And in the audio we heard the woman said, "Did you hear that Mary's in hospital with a broken leg?" And the man said, "Let's go visit her." And in the second line we hear "let's go visit her," and "let's" is expression of suggestion. So the man suggests to visit Mary. So I think the correct answer is A. Skill 30. Listen for emphatic expression of surprise. Emphatic expression of surprise are common in listening part A, so you should become familiar with them. When surprise is expressed, it implies that the speaker did not expect something to be true. And in the book, you can see and you can read the table. There is the chart outlines various ways to express emphatic surprise, and in the table there is 4 columns. The first is verb, the second is emphatic form, the third is example, and the last is meaning. The verb be, emphatic form be with emphasis, and the example is then he is here, and the meaning is I thought he was not here. And the verb modal, the emphatic form is modal with emphasis. The example is then you can go. The meaning is I thought you could not go. And the verb present tense, the emphatic form is do, in parentheses es with emphasis. The example is then you do play tennis. The meaning is I thought you did not play tennis. And the verb past tense, emphatic form did with emphasis. The example is then she did read it. The meaning is I thought she had not read it. And the verb perfect tense, the emphatic form is have with emphasis. The example is then he has gone there. And the meaning of that sentence is I thought he had not gone there. And I will take a sample question from TOEFL exercise 13, number 4. Now you will hear the audio.
TOEFL exercise 13. In this exercise, listen carefully to the short conversation and question on the tape, and then choose the best answer to the question. You should be particularly careful of expressions of emphatic surprise. Number 4.
I'm so tired from all that exercise.
Then you did run 3 miles this morning.
What had the man assumed?
Where is the correct answer here? The correct answer is D. The woman had not gotten much exercise. We know that the question is what had the man assumed? And in the audio we hear that the woman said, "I'm so tired from all that exercise," and the man said, "Then you did run 3 miles this morning?" And I think the correct answer is D. Why? Because from that conversation, the emphatic form you did run is used to show that the man surprised that the woman ran 3 miles this morning. It means that the man expected that the woman had not gotten much exercise.
Well, thank you for watching our videos. And the last we say, wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.